It's John from Canada. He's a prolific caller into the show. He wants to talk about his fears of hell. So, hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Kelley. How are you?
I'm doing good. Haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, I know I said that I wouldn't call again, but I just...
Well, John, you and I have always gotten along really well, so I always enjoy talking to you.
I enjoy talking to you too, but there's a question I'd like to ask.
Sure.
Yeah. Since our last conversation, I've been thinking a lot about my faith and the theology, and it's kind of shaky at the moment. And I'm thinking that maybe it's time to rethink, but there's one thing that's holding me back, and that's fear of hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if...
Wait, which hell?
If the Christian hell, but any hell in general, but specifically the Christian one.
Again, I don't know which one you're talking about, because I've heard, like, I know there's like the hellfire hell, and there's the complete separation of God hell is another concept. So, which hell are you really in fear of? The hellfire hell?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I could see why you would be in fear of that. I mean, especially, how long have you been told that's where where bad people go? I mean, your whole life, pretty much, right? You've been taught that and conditioned to believe that, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So of course you're going to believe it. It's there. I mean, you've had it for decades in the back of your head that this is a real thing. So of course it's going to affect you now. But you've got to remember is it a real thing? Is it something like we've been talking about being able to prove things all night long, that, look at evidence and see if something is there and if it's a real thing. And just like I mentioned, there's more than one kind of Christian hell. I'm not sure that your hell is the real Christian hell, or if there actually is a Christian hell, because I've never seen any proof of one. So if you think about it that way, you might not be so afraid of something that doesn't really exist. It's sort of like when you were a kid, when you thought there were monsters in your closet or under your bed. They weren't really there. You were totally scared of it, I know, but they weren't really there. And when you found out they weren't there anymore, you stopped being scared of it. But you had to come to that realization that those monsters weren't under your bed. Those monsters weren't in your closet, right?
Yes.
Does that make some kind of sense to you?
Yes, it does. It's amazing how when you're told something as a child by an adult, it can still bother you as an adult.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not something you're going to get rid of tomorrow, John. It's not. And I think, and I can speak probably, I don't want to speak for all atheists, but I think I could speak for quite a bit of us, is that a lot of us were theists at one time, and we gave up those theist ideas, and it did not happen overnight. It took a long, long time and a lot of thinking and a lot of exploring within ourselves and thinking about what faith is, and maybe learning to not rely on faith, but to rely on the tangible things in the world that we could see and control. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I mean, if it's anything, I agree with Kelley. Like, when I noticed, I guess, my faith slipping to, or starting to slip in the first place, I mean, I was lucky in that I didn't have the same sort of fear of hell drilled into me, but I was still afraid. I did not want to be an atheist. I didn't want to lose that. And so I was worried because it was such a big part of me. I thought it was what made me into a better person, I guess the simple way to put it. And so, yeah, at first I was, particularly in that shaky period. And we're talking of a period, it took me, like, I lost it over the period of about 2 years. And I remember there was a moment where I suddenly realized I don't believe it anymore, but going from being a full believer until that moment was still a long time. And I get it. It's the fact that you do still have that fear is perfectly understandable. It's normal. And I guess if it's any consolation, any help, once I actually did stop believing it, that fear went away because I realized I'm still me. I'm not worse because my mind changed. I'm not, and I know that your fear is of an actual physical punishment. But like once I got through that period, I was much clearer on what I understood, and those sort of worries started to settle. It wasn't clear, like it wasn't quick, sorry, and it didn't happen overnight, as Kelley pointed out. But there can be a silver lining, and I'm not saying this is that you will become non-religious. You might end up becoming more religious in the end after you reflect more. But whatever you get to, sometimes time can help. The fact that you have those fears is not basically is not a problem in on of itself. It doesn't make you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That's normal. I perfectly understand. I think a lot of us had them too.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me.
Is there a particular aspect? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, what's the question you wanted to ask me? Yeah, what's the question
I was just
going
going to say, was there a particular part of it that you were most fearful of?
The being in a place where I'm going to be tortured, burned alive.
I mean, yeah, it was more like that sort of like, what if I'm wrong and this exists type thing? Like, what if I am sent there? Is that it?
And there's no escape. And there's absolutely no escape. You can't escape. There's no parole.
The eternity thing really makes it worse, right? And the idea of that being forever.
Yeah. And that's, as I said, that being fearful of that is perfectly normal. But at least what helps me is that's one view of hell. There are many out there. What if we're both wrong? What if one of the versions of the Muslim hell is right? What if a different religion? What if, let's say, the Aztecs or the Mayans were correct? There's a lot of different views on punishment in the afterlife, because you can't just say plain hell, because there's a lot of beliefs had very, very different views of the afterlife. What if we failed to get in the duat in the ancient Egyptian belief? So, like, yes, that's one thing to be scared of, and I understand that that's what's particularly in the cultures that we come from. That's the sort of hell we've been told. But how much time do you spend in fear of all these other hells?
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought about that. I don't fear the other hells.
Yeah, and I said there is nothing wrong with being fearful of the thing you've been told your whole life about. But if you try and think about it as just another one of those same ones in terms of, and then be like, okay, do any of these have more evidence than the other? And if it might help, and I said it's not going to happen overnight, that one day you'll get to the point where you realize that maybe, again, I'm not trying to prescribe where you'll be, but maybe you'll get to the point where it's sort of like, oh, you can put it in the same category as these other ones that you're not fearful of. And that, I said, like, personally, that helps me a lot. I kind of be like, no, I don't spend time worrying about the ancient Aztec afterlife or the Mayans. I don't get feared being chucked into a large, water hole and as a sacrifice to Chuck, which happened a bit, and then going to some bad afterlife. So the question is, okay, does this other one that we're being fearful of have any more evidence for it? Is there a reason to believe it? And I eventually came to the conclusion, no, it's the same as the others I'm not scared of.
Does that help a little bit, John?
That makes it. Yes, it does. It does very much.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, John. I'm really happy to hear that you're on this journey. I hope we get to talk some more. I'm going to be back on in a couple of weeks. I'd love to have you call back. If that's okay with you, we can talk some more. You can ask me. I'm always, John, you can always email me at the show. You can put my name in the subject line so they know to send it directly to me. And I'd be happy to answer any questions for you or help you out as much as I can.
I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure, John. I've always enjoyed talking to you. I've always asked you to call me on the show, so I appreciate it.
Likewise. Okay, well, have a good night.
You too, John. Thank you so much for calling.